everybody, welcome back. I just spent the last 10 minutes trying to find a good angle for this. As you can tell, we're in a different spot. I'm in my dining room. Mother Nature isn't cooperating, so it's very gloomy out, and I know the lighting isn't the best in my craft room, so I thought I would try in here because I have light overhead. And I've got my laptop perched up on a can, so I'm more in the center of the frame. And oops. And I'm looking down at myself instead of at the light. So I said, welcome back, episode 2. I did return. Thank you to everybody who watched the last episode. And if you're new to this one, welcome. First things first, works in progress and FOs. I don't have anything off the needles, but I did finish a sock. I can't remember how long ago I finished it. It was Wednesday or Thursday of last week. I don't remember the exact date. I quick cast on my second sock so I could work on it in the deer blind this weekend, and that didn't work out for me. The weather was too damp and the yarn got real sticky and it didn't want to slide through my fingers like it usually does. So, and then the next thing is my Lakeshore scarf. Oh, the yarn on my socks is Knit Picks Felici in the Countess colorway, and I'm knitting it on US 1s 2.5 millimeters. Okay, the next thing is my Lakeshore scarf by Mara Jessup. Again, Knit Picks yarn in the Great Lakes colorway. If you can see, since I last recorded, I've knit from here all the way up to here. At least a foot. Again, really quick knit. I've only been knitting this in front of the TV, and I've reached the halfway point where increasing up to X amount of stitches, and now I'm decreasing to, I think it's 6 stitches. And I'm loving how this is coming out. I like the variations because it is reminiscent of water, and I like the kind of coral pinkish kind of bits, because in my area of Lake Superior there's a lot of clay, and fortunately my area is sand, but there is nothing like Lake Superior clay. The only thing that I'm kind of wishing didn't happen was the right here where it kind of is going different colors, rather like alternating. I can use words. I thought that was kind of weird, but in a way it also reminds me of sunset hitting the water and the waves, and it kind of ripples. So I'm slowly getting used to that part. And for spinning, I have got one bobbin done. I'm going to call it done even though it's not all the way out to here, but I'm really happy with it. The fiber is Foxglove carded Corriedale dark brown with gray, purchased from Paradise Fibers. And I've got another bobbin started. I haven't done much spinning the last 5 days or so because I've been getting ready for hunting season. So I've been no spinning before bedtime. And let's see, books. I've had this book from the library for close to 6 weeks now, and I'm only on chapter 14. It's called Crossing to Safety. I learned about it on the Close Reads podcast. They were doing a read along and book discussion. I'm behind, so probably last month. I couldn't tell you what it's about, except that it's about two couples and how their lives intersect with each other. Friendship. A novel brimming with wisdom on subjects as diverse as writing for money, solid marriages, and academic promotion policies, with page after page of the superb descriptive writing that has been a hallmark of Wallace Stegner's work from the start, and with a marvelous extended family of unforgettable major and minor characters. There's really no description other than that it's a great book. It's a wonderful book. You must read it. One of the things that I do know is it's set in Wisconsin, which I have to laugh because after listening to the first episode, one of my friends told me my accent was adorable. Well, thank you. I didn't know I had an accent. I called it the Midwestern twang, but I'm probably not accurate on that one. I'm from the north, so I've probably got that up north accent with the long vowels and whatnot, and yes, I do say oofta. Audiobooks. I have been listening to Speaker for the Dead by, I don't remember his name because I didn't write it down. I'm not prepared. Well, Speaker for the Dead is by Orson Scott Card, and it's the second book after Ender's Game, if anybody's familiar with that one. Sometime last year, I listened to Ender's Game, or maybe it was the first part of this year. Anyways, I really liked Ender's Game. That was a really good story, and so I put the request for the audiobook for Speaker for the Dead at the end of the school year because I was thinking my son and I would listen to it as I drove him into Y Camp for CITing and my commute to work. Well, apparently this story is in hot demand because I didn't get it until 10 days ago, and I started listening to it and just kind of blew through it, and I've got either 15 or 30 minutes left, and it's been another really good one. I'm enjoying this author's writing so far. This one, let's see, it's set 3,000 years after Ender's Game was set, and Ender's still doing time travel and speaking for the dead, which is what it sounds like. Somebody requests that a speaker come and speak someone's life, and they come however many years it might take later and learns about that person's life and speaks the truth about his life and death. And this story has got a lot of theological angles to it. The author speaks about Lutheranism and Calvinism quite frequently, and I'm not familiar with those two. Although on the planet that Ender's at, there is the Catholic Church and Catholic bishop, and on this particular planet that the story set at, there is another species that they decide the human race doesn't want to do any harm to. They want to minimal impact as possible. Kind of I hesitate to say it's like the prime directive of the Star Trek series. It it's even less than that. It's like, don't answer questions, don't ask questions, simply observe. Don't do anything that might make their civilization suddenly leap. And it's been interesting. You know, what would we do if we suddenly came across another species? How would we handle that? Would we share technology? Would we not want to intrude upon them? It's been a good story. I've liked it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to request the next one or not, though. Chicken update. Mama and the babies are doing good. Unfortunately, right after I recorded, one of the babies did die suddenly, which happens. It's all a part of life and raising chickens. Somebody might have looked at them funny and it just decided it was time. No, more likely it just wasn't thriving, and sometimes nature takes a little bit longer. One of my son's favorite hens passed away, and that was sad for all of us because it was one of the hens from our favorite chicken ever. If you've followed the blog any length of time, you've heard of Grandma P, which there's a story behind why she's called Grandma P, but she is one of the best hens that we ever had. Great personality, very sweet. She'd let you know if she wasn't happy about something, and if one of the other girls in the flock did something that displeased her, I mean, she'd let her know that, that's not cool. And Grandma P died more than a year ago, and we've had two of her girls that are, trying to think, they've got to be 4 or 5 years old. I don't remember exactly. Grandma P had a long life, and she died of natural causes. But the rail, we knew she was declining, and it was just a matter of time, and we decided the kindest thing to do was to euthanize her. I don't know if I've said her name at all since I started talking. The girl who passed away, we called her the Rail, but my son's full name for her was Eldorado Rail. He was learning about that in social studies when he decided to give her that name. And the other gal that we have, who is a baby of Grandma P's, her name is Pontiac. And of course, I always think of the car maker, but I am sure that it has something to do with something he learned in social studies at the time too. Did have a note here to show you the different sizes of the eggs of the older girls versus the younger girls, but I forgot to grab them, so I'll make a note to show you next time. In the kitchen, I've been taking advantage of the bounty of the garden, and I made my first batch of salsa in a couple years. Tomatoes were great this year. I don't think I've ever had a crop produce as well as this year. And I made zucchini cake, which is always a hit with my son and myself, if I'm honest. I used the recipe out of my Betty Crocker cookbook, and I've tried looking that one online, and what was on their website is not the same as my cookbook. Mine, I received Christmas of 98, 99, not sure which, but it came from my sister-in-law, and I go to that cookbook so often, and I like what's in there versus the new revisions and everything. Today, this is so dorky, but I'm really excited that I got a new cast iron skillet. I mentioned something to my husband about being interested in transitioning over to cast iron. And I've got a very well seasoned 12-inch cast iron skillet that he has been in love with, especially for making eggs. And he said, I wish I could use it for everything, but it's just not big enough for things like frying fish for him and my son. And I mentioned something, and he started looking, and he found a good price for one on Amazon, and we had some Amazon bucks, so he put the order in, and it just arrived about 10 minutes before I started recording. Let's see, what else do I want to say? Nature notes. Colors are changing up here, and maybe later on today or tomorrow morning I'll try to take some pictures of the reds and the oranges that are really starting to pop. I think tonight is the first night that the weather guy said temps in the 40s. Nights have been cool, very cool. It hasn't stopped the mosquitoes, unfortunately. We had a fresh hatch out, and they seem bigger. They seem more voracious, and it's just, ugh. So, but with the change in the temperature, and now the leaves are starting to fall, and I'm starting to think about what I need to do to clean up the yard and start getting ready for winter. I'm not sure how well this shows up on the recording, but I can hear my water fountain going. The chickens are strangely quiet. They've been quiet all day, and nobody's doing any egg songs, which is weird. We'll need to finish cleaning up in the garden, because first frost could happen any day now, which our son has one watermelon still going in the garden. We let him get a watermelon plant this year, and he has taken very good care of it, and he's watered it and weeded it, and they're just, like personal size mini watermelons, nothing big, because we can't grow something like that and be big in the north. Just the growing season isn't long enough. And this past weekend we let him pick one of them and cut into it, and it was just a light pink, not that beautiful red that is going to be so sweet and delicious. I mean, it tasted like watermelon, but it should have stayed on a little bit longer. So he's got the other one going, and we're really hoping something happens before the first frost does damage to it. Because if he isn't able to enjoy one, he's going to be so sad. And then, of course, with the changing of the weather and fall coming, it's going to be wood stove weather. The temperature right now is 56 degrees out, and I think it's 61 in the house. And I've got all the windows open, exchanging the air. Someone I used to work with, she did a year of teaching over in Poland, and she said every morning, regardless of how cold it was, the cleaning ladies would go into the school every morning and have the windows wide open, exchanging the air. And I kind of like that idea. Now, I don't think I would do this if we were burning propane or natural gas for heat, but with the wood stove, it doesn't bother me. Probably because it doesn't take that long to heat up the house with a wood stove. And we've got plenty of wood for heat, so. probably in a couple hours. Let's see, what time is it? 1:16. Yeah, a couple hours I'll close everything back up, and then I'll put a fire in the wood stove, and my son will be happy because he's been complaining that it's too cold in the morning, even though it's been 60, mid-60s in the house. Yeah. Life. Life has been going really fast, crazy busy right now. And I realize I'm saying a lot. I'm sorry. This weekend was opener for, I'm not sure what they call it, bow deer season, archery season for deer hunting. And we've been preparing for this for the last few months and getting everything ready, and everything was just on this one day weekend. And we were successful, although I was gonna Saturday at like 3 a.m. though, I woke up to a really bad thunderstorm, lightning, thunder, lots of rain, whole lot of rain. The big city near me suffered a lot of damage from it. Fortunately, we didn't have anything happen to us. I guess we got ours out of the way this spring. So went out and sat out in the morning, and it was really crappy weather. It stopped raining, but it was overcast and kind of breezy, rain dripping out of the trees. You couldn't hardly hear anything, and I was getting a little frustrated, but you know, I would like to say that I was patient, although I know I'm not. My husband probably would say that I wasn't patient. But my patience was rewarded, and him and I both had a successful weekend, and we spent yesterday processing, and that was about 10 hours, and I was just dead on my feet by the time it was all done, and he was sore everywhere, and we're very blessed, but at the same time, oh my gosh, that was a lot to do, and we wanted to get it all done in one day. Well, we had to get it all done in one day, so. And here I thought I was going to be slower, or not slower, less time this go around, and I'm looking at the clock and I see I'm already at 23 minutes. So I'll try to wrap this up somewhat quick. Housekeeping. I still have no schedule. I don't know what I was thinking trying to start something up in the month of September when I have so much going on. No routine yet. I'm working on it. I swear I am. And I am still thinking about different segments and sections of this podcast, vlog. I'm still not sure what to call it. So in the meantime, I'm still kind of muddling through some of that, and I might steal section ideas from past podcasts I used to listen to. Like, if you're familiar with the Stitch It podcast, I love the way she did things. Her name was Megan, and she is from the Chicagoland area, and she used to introduce every part. What comes to mind most was spinning. So here's the part that I talk about spinning, or babble. So here's the part where I babble. But one thing that I did want to do, strive for in each issue, is something that I'm thankful for each week that I record. And this week, I would say that I am thankful for Thermacell mosquito repellents. These were a godsend this weekend. Sorry for the noise. earlier this year, I got, I might have seen them at Menards or something, and I got interested in it and started looking at it, and we bought one, and these things are worth their weight in gold. I don't think any of us could have sat out in our deer stands for as long as we did without these things because the mosquitoes were so bad. Now, I don't know if I recommend the earth scent chips because those are not very pleasant. Also, they're a little bit more expensive, but we had purchased those ones for hunting to help cover up, human scent. And it, just not good. So, now that I'm at 26 minutes, I did all my notes. So I guess that is it for this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for visiting with me, and see you next time. Bye.